my consciousness journey, and sometimes I like to refer back to the scriptures, and today I'm gonna be talking about the Shiva Sutras. Because sometimes we just naturally kind of might get lost or just want to find our way. So tap into some of these divine texts is a great way to realign with your highest state of being. So let's get started with the Shiva Sutras. These are very short, like verses. The Shiva Sutras is probably normally just like, it's probably only like 2 pages worth of things, but they give explanations of everything as well. So I'm going to be reading the sutra and I'm going to be giving you the explanation of it. But keep in mind that the explanation is not part of the sutra, it's more so the translator's elaboration on the sutra. So, number one, Katanya Matama, and that means the self is consciousness. So that's sutra number one, and the explanation is the Shiva Sutras waste no time in getting to the heart of the matter. Our true self is consciousness, not our body. The Sanskrit word Atman is translated in two possible ways, soul and self. Both mean the same thing. The above sutra can also be translated as the soul is consciousness. In spiritualism, the self and the soul are the same thing. The self is the witnessing self within us that observes all our actions. When we are in the state of awareness, we are a witness. And this witness is none other than ourself or our soul. The word Katanya means consciousness. However, Katanya is also a technical word in Kashmir Shaivism used for Lord Shiva. Therefore, an alternative way to translate this sutra would be the self is Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. So, sutra number 2. Gyanam Bandha. Knowledge causes bondage. Normally, we are taught that ignorance binds us and knowledge liberates us. Then, how can knowledge cause bondage? This sutra is referring to limited knowledge, not real knowledge. Limited knowledge causes us to identify with our body and not with consciousness. The previous sutra explained that our real self is consciousness. When we believe that we are the body and not consciousness, then that belief or knowledge binds us. Why do we identify with the body? What causes us to have limited knowledge? This is explained in the next sutra. So that's wild, like, because we normally think that we are our bodies, but this sutra is telling us that we're not the body, we are consciousness. Consciousness is everything that we are aware of. So that's why we practice yoga, that's why we meditate. Some people think the world is this way, some people think the world is that way, but it's really just the consciousness that we're experiencing that causes us to see things certain ways and to give certain meaning to different things in the external world. So, elevate your consciousness, that's your who you are. The next sutra is sutra number 3, which says Yoni Varga Kala Siriram, and that means the origin of this group is the elements that cause identification with the body. I'm reading the Shiva Sutras. It's it's sort of like it's something like a Bible. It's a spiritual text all about consciousness and vibration. So the origin of this group means the origin of people with limited knowledge. The origin of limited knowledge is caused by elements that conceal one's true nature. To understand this, we must first understand the theory of creation in Tantra. Ultimate reality in Tantra is known as Param Shiva. Param Shiva is Supreme God or Universal Consciousness. From Param Shiva, 36 elements are created. From these 36 elements, the manifest world is created. Param Shiva, or Supreme Consciousness, is present in all 36 elements. In Supreme Consciousness, there is some agitation or movement that causes the elements to come out. The first few elements that appear are known as the pure elements. The first element to appear is Shiva, the passive consciousness. This is followed by Shakti, the energy of Shiva. Then there are three specific energies: the energy of will, Sadashiva, the energy of knowledge, Ishwara, and the energy of action, Sadvidya, or Kriya Shakti. After the five pure elements, the seven pure impure elements emerge. The first six elements, elements 6 to 11, are important, and they are the ones referred to in the above sutra. The sixth element is Maya. Maya means illusion. She veils the unity of existence and causes us to experience duality or separation. We feel separate from other objects, not one with them. In fact, there is no other object, there is only one. Maya restricts us from experiencing oneness and causes us to experience diversity. Maya works through the next five elements, elements 7 to 11. These five elements are collectively known as Kanshuka. Kanshuka literally means cover. These five elements cover and conceal our true nature. The first of these five elements, element 7, is Kala. Kala limits the sense of identification with universal consciousness to the limited individual. So Kala limits the sense of identification with universal consciousness to the limited individual. Instead of identifying with consciousness, we identify with the body or with name and form. The next element, element 8, is Vidya, or knowledge, which reduces the omniscience of consciousness to limited knowledge. Vidya covers our all knowing state and makes us experience limited knowledge. Next is Raga, or attraction. When we feel separate from other objects, attraction for some of them can arise. When there is no separation, there can be no attraction. You cannot be attracted to your own finger. You can only be attracted to something that is separate from you. Element 10, Kala, or time. Kala reduces the eternity of consciousness to past, present, and future. Instead of experiencing eternity, we experience time measured in seconds, minutes, hours, days, months, years, etc. The last of the five elements, element 11, is Niyati. Niyati causes restriction in space and form. Instead of experiencing the all pervasiveness of our true nature, we experience ourselves in a particular space and form. Niyati is also sometimes translated as fate or destiny. It is the path an individual soul experiences in the world, subjected to time, space, and the law of karma. Maya and these five elements cover our true nature and restrict our awareness of the ultimate reality. Instead of experiencing eternity and the omniscience, all pervasiveness of our true nature, we identify with name and form and experience ourselves in a particular body at a particular time, having a sequential set of experiences which become past, present, and future. The above sutra has a compound word consisting of two important words, kala and shariram. Kala is the element that causes us to identify with the body and not with consciousness. Shiriram means body. Therefore, the sutra is saying that the origin of this group is the element that causes us to identify with the body. It is not just Kala, but also Maya and the other four elements that cause us to identify with the body. The first three sutras are therefore saying the self is consciousness. Limited knowledge, believing we are the body, causes bondage. And the identification with the body is caused by Maya and the five elements that cover our true nature. So, the next sutra, sutra number 4, I'm reading the Shiva Sutras, and Shiva basically means consciousness. So it's basically a book all about consciousness and how we experience the world, and talks about our soul, where we come from, and it gives you like a lot of information on how to just go about living to reach the ultimate peace. So the next one is Jnana Histanam Matrika. Matrika governs this knowledge. Before explaining the sutra, it is important to know the balance elements of creation. We have so far covered 11 elements. The 12th element is Purusha, or individual experience. This is followed by nature, Prakriti. Nature has three qualities: inertia, dynamism, and balance. Each individual is a mixture of some combination of these three qualities. Next are the three elements of the mind: buddhi, which is intellect or intelligence; ahamkara, which is ego; and manas, the thinking mind. These elements of mind are followed by the five organs of perception: the sense of taste, smell, sight, touch, and hearing. Then there are the five organs of action: the vocal cords for speech, hands for handling, the feet for movement, the genital organs for reproduction, and the anus for excretion. After this, we have the five tanmatras, which are the essence of the senses. Finally, there are five gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, or space. The 36 elements enumerated above are the building blocks of life and are responsible for creation of the universe. The elements work through sound in creating the universe. Kashmir Shaivism teaches that the elements are found in the energy of sound, specifically in the energy found in the letters of the Sanskrit alphabets. From the sounds of the different Sanskrit alphabets, the universe is created. This is similar to what is written in the Bible. It reads, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." John 1-1. Word is sound. In Sanskrit, there is a common word, shab, used for both sound and word. Sanskrit has 16 vowels, 25 consonants, 4 semivowels, and 4 sibilants. For the purpose of explaining creation by sound, a fifth sibilant, ksha, is added, which is really a conjunction of two consonants. Therefore, the Sanskrit alphabet starts with the vowel A and ends with the sibilant ksha. The 16 vowels are said to contain the nature of Shiva. The 25 consonants contain the five gross elements, the five essence of the senses, the five organs of action, and the five organs of perception, the three elements of the mind, nature, Prakriti, and the individual, Purusha. The 4 semivowels represent Maya and the other 5 elements that cover our true nature. Finally, the 5 sibilants contain the 3 specific energies of Shiva and Shakti and the main energy of Shiva. What exactly is matrika, and how does she govern this knowledge? Matrika is sometimes translated as Divine Mother, but she is a lot more than that. The collective energy, or the sum total of all the energies, of all the sounds found in the Sanskrit alphabets, is matrika. Verse 8 and 9 of the Paratrishika explain it beautifully. Proceeding successively from the eternal A and ending in ksha are the sounds collectively known as matrika. who is known to create the universe. She, in fact, is the governing power of all mantras and knowledge. O glorious one, this is the source, that this is the source has always been proclaimed in all the tantras. Matrika governs knowledge of the created world because she is responsible for the creation of the world. Modern science today says that all of existence is only vibration. It confirms what this sutra is saying. So the fifth sutra is Udyamo Bharava. Vigorous and continuous effort leads to God. And this is the explanation of that sutra. I'm reading the Shiva Sutras, and it's all about consciousness and just how we experience the world, because it says that consciousness is our true self. We're not the body, we're actually consciousness. And the scripture goes into breaking down and really explaining consciousness. So, this sutra, Udyamo Bharava, vigorous and continuous effort leads to God. And this is the explanation of that sutra. Whatever method we choose to reach God, we have to be totally committed to it. We cannot achieve liberation by being half-hearted in our attempt. Just as water vaporizes at 100 degrees Celsius, in the same way, we have to be totally committed in order to reach our goal. Our efforts must be total and continuous. Then, one day, we will awaken to a higher reality. Ramana Maharishi used to say that a fruit takes time to ripen, but a moment comes when it suddenly falls off the tree. And if our efforts are vigorous and continuous, there will come a time when we will awaken to our true self in a flash. So the next sutra says, Saktika Krasa Madane Visva Samhara. And what that means is, on uniting the energy in the chakras, the universe ceases to exist. So the literal meaning of chakra is wheel. It is actually the energy center, an area where there is great concentration of energy. There are also channels, nadis, for allowing energy to flow in the body. There are supposed to be 72,000 channels in the body. There are 3 that are considered to be important. The central channel, Sushumna, which is the main one, extends upwards through the spine. The other 2 are the Ida and the Pingala. A chakra is located at the junction or meeting point of 2 or more channels. There are 7 important chakras. Muladhara chakra is the lowest chakra, located near the base of the spine. For men, it is located between the genital organs and the back passage. In women, it is situated at the beginning of the cervix. The next chakra is Swadhisthana chakra, located above the Muladhara chakra at the base of the spine, in the region we call the tailbone. After Swadhisthana comes the Manipura chakra, which is situated in the spine, directly behind the navel. Higher up in the spine, directly behind the sternum, is the Anahata chakra. Further up in the spine, behind the throat pit, is the Vishuddha chakra. Next is the Ajna chakra, located behind the eyebrow center. Finally, there is Sahasrara chakra, situated at the crown of the head. The chakras and channels are not part of the physical body. They are part of the subtle body, or energy body. If you open up the physical body, you will not find any chakras or channels. However, the subtle body controls and governs the physical body. When we have an illness, the energy flow in our body is disturbed. Certain Eastern systems of healing, such as acupuncture, attempt to balance energy flows to cure illness. There is also the dormant energy called Kundalini, lying in the Muladhara chakra, near the base of the spine. Many yogic practices attempt to raise this energy. When this energy rises, it moves up to the central channel and pierces each chakra. When it reaches the highest chakra, that is Sahasrara, the individual is liberated. On uniting the energy in the chakras, the universe ceases to exist. This sutra refers to the time when the dormant energy Kundalini, situated at the base chakra, is raised to the topmost chakra. During the process, this energy unites all the chakras, and we are liberated. In a state of liberation, the universe ceases to exist. Why is this so? How does the universe disappear? The universe disappears because it is not real. When we sleep at night, we have many dreams. Some of those dreams may seem very real. At times, we may feel thirsty in the dream, at times scared, at times elated. But none of those experiences are real. And when we wake up, none of the dream experiences matter. Our so called real world is also like a dream world. When we are liberated, we awaken. And the universe in its present form ceases to exist. What we thought was the universe, we realize is none other than ourself. Ashtavakra Gita explains it beautifully. Just as bubbles of foam and water are not different from water, in the same way, all creation streaming out from the self is not different from the self. Just as a cloth may be considered to be only thread, like that, all creation may be considered to be only the self. Ah, when the manifold universe appears in me, it is just an illusion, like water shimmering in sun rays, a snake appearing in a strand of rope, or silver glistening in a seashell. From me the world has streamed out, and in me it will dissolve. Just like a clay pot crumbles into clay, a wave subsides into water, a gold bracelet melts into gold. Sutra number 7. Jagrat sva pnasusupvede tura boga sambhava. And what that means is, on differentiating oneself from the body in the waking state, the dream state, and the state of deep sleep, one enjoys the birth of the fourth state. An explanation: one of the fastest ways to attain liberation is to detach oneself from the body and be aware. This means that we no longer identify with the body, but with consciousness. The Ashtavakra Gita says that if we are able to do this, we can be liberated immediately. A lot of the stress and strain in life comes because we believe we are the doer, the one who keeps doing things. Actually, it is our body that keeps doing things, and we are not our body. We are the witness that is aware and observes life moment to moment. The witness is the self or the soul. The sutra tells us to change our perspective and whom we identify with. Instead of identifying with our body, we should identify with the witnessing self. The sutra mentions that we differentiate ourselves from the body in the waking state, the dream state, and the state of deep sleep. Start by practicing this in the waking state. When your awareness increases and you are nearing liberation, you will be aware even in the dream state or in deep sleep. Some days we get stressed when we have an exceedingly busy day and have lots of things to do. Sometimes we are also unhappy when we are doing things we do not enjoy. When we detach ourselves from the body and remain aware, Our perspective and the way we experience the moment changes completely. We become peaceful even when we are busy or doing things we do not enjoy. Ramana Maharishi gave a wonderful example to explain this. He said that when a passenger gets onto a train with his suitcase, if he keeps the suitcase on his head, he is unnecessarily straining himself. But he can put the suitcase down because the train will take him and his suitcase to the destination. In the same way, we should surrender ourselves to the higher power and allow this higher power to work through us and lead us to our destination. When we identify with the body and believe we are the doer, we are unnecessarily straining ourselves, like the man carrying his suitcase on his head on the train. So the eighth sutra is called Jnanam Jagrat. And what that means is the waking state consists of knowledge of the external world. And the explanation is the waking state is primarily concerned with the external world. Our actions and thoughts are about the external world. Our education and knowledge is also about the external world. What we call the waking state is actually also a dream state. We live in a make-believe world where things are not what they seem. Like Alice in Wonderland, what we believe to be real is actually not so. When we truly awaken, we realize that we are living in a dream world all along. And the ninth sutra, Savapno Vikalpa, the dream state is a variety of imaginings. When we are in the explanation, when we are sleeping and dreaming, we have a variety of dreams. Our imagination becomes vivid, and our mind conjures up many different dreams. The 10th Sutra, Avi Veko Maya Sasuptam, and what that means is there is no awareness in the illusory state of deep sleep. In the state of deep sleep, there are no thoughts and no dreams. The state of deep sleep is similar to the state of enlightenment, in that there are no thoughts. However, there is one crucial difference. In deep sleep, there is no awareness. We are not aware when we are in deep sleep. Sutra number 11. Trita Yabogta Varasa Varesa. And that means one who experiences this triad is the chief of heroes. This, in an explanation, this sutra is similar to Sutra 7. It is basically saying the same thing. The triad is the three states: the waking state, the dream state, and the state of deep sleep. You experience this triad when you are aware during the three states. You start by being aware during the waking state. In the state of awareness, you are detached from the body and you are a witness to the events unfolding in your life. As your awareness grows, you reach a point when you are aware even during the dream state and the state of deep sleep. While dreaming, you are aware that you are dreaming. In deep sleep, you are aware that you are sound asleep. The witness in you is awakened to the extent that it is never switched off. At this stage, you become the chief of heroes, the most heroic of all heroes. You become enlightened. The next sutra, Vismayo Yoga Bhumika. And what that means is the different stages of yoga cause amazement. And the explanation, Buddha once said, those who are awake live in a state of constant amazement. The different stages of yoga result in higher and higher levels of awareness. One becomes more and more awake. Becoming awake changes your whole world. You experience things you have never experienced before. You look at life in a whole new way. You see beauty in places you had overlooked. You may appreciate the color of a flower or an article of clothing. There is a feeling of joy that fills you and flows out of you. This is because you have come in touch with your highest self. There is a deep sense of gratitude for what you have been given. You live in amazement at the beauty of life, and all your problems seem trivial and unimportant. One experiences great peace and a heightened state of awareness. When the noise of the mind is shut down, the beauty of life suddenly becomes apparent. You are amazed at the beauty and wonder of life and how joyful life can be. Sutra number 13, Ika Saktir Uma Kumari. And what that means is the power of desire is the goddess, consort of Shiva. Explanation. One of the topics emphasized in the Spanda Karikas is the power of desire. Verses 33 through 36 explain this. According to the desire abiding in the heart, God brings about creation of what has been desired. This is what causes the sun and moon to reach its end, resulting in awakening of the embodied. So, even in the dream state, from a continuous request for one's desire, God, who is always abiding in the center of oneself, will certainly manifest most vividly the objects that are desired. Otherwise, one may be giving up the freedom to create, which is the nature of God that is constantly with one, as is the case of ordinary people in both the waking and dreaming state. Since initially, one's goal manifests unclearly. However, on constant attention of the mind on it, the object is made manifest most clearly through the continuous exercise of one's power. The Shiva Sutras show the importance of desire in achieving our goal by elevating the power of desire to the level of a goddess. Desire is a very important creation tool that helps us achieve our goals, whether spiritual or material. So we got to be very aware of our desires because our desires have a big effect on like wherever we are in life. So if we notice the way that we feel in at any point in time, we could just start to be more aware of what we're desiring. And as we could elevate our desires to just higher things, our experience of life also elevates. Some people just desire things like more money, more this person, that person, this material thing, that material thing. But as we go on a spiritual path, we come to desire union. We come to desire unconditional love. We come to desire just higher things, and that governs our experience of the world. So be careful of the things you desire, or be wise. It's a better choice of words. But Sutra number 14, Drishyam Sariram, the entire world is one's own body. And this is the explanation. The entire world is part of one supreme being, who we normally refer to as God or Shiva. We are part of this same being. Therefore, by extension, this entire world is a part of us, and it's like one's own body. There is only one supreme energy that we are all part of. Everything in the world is interconnected and is part of this supreme being. There is a term called Kaivaila used to describe the state of enlightenment. Kaivaila also means that we are alone. In the state of enlightenment, you realize that there is only one, there is only you, and nothing else exists. A similar term, Kevali, is used later in the text, Sutra 34 of Chapter 3, to describe the liberated state. It is meant to convey the sense of oneness and aloneness, that you alone exist. This you, of course, in a liberated state, is God. Sutra number 15, Hridaya Sita Samgatad Driya Svapadarasanam. And that means from focusing the mind on the heart, the world appears as a dream. Explanation. Focusing the mind on the heart is a meditation practice. Once you practice this successfully, you become liberated and the world appears as a dream. The world appears as a dream simply because after liberation, the true nature of the world is realized. The world is not real. Once you truly awaken, you realize you were living in a dream world all along. There is a story that will explain this. When it is dark, we might mistake a rope for a snake and become scared. But in light, we realize that it is only a rope and there is nothing to be afraid of. The external world is somewhat like this. We might experience fear in our daily lives, but when we are liberated, we realize that the world is not real and there is nothing to be afraid of. Fear is completely absent from the life of a liberated person. The meditation practice given in verse 49 of the Vijnana Bharava Tantra. When the senses are absorbed in the inner peace, when the senses are absorbed in the inner space of the heart, one should concentrate with undivided attention on the center of the two bowls of the lotus located there. O beloved, one obtains the supreme fortune. Sutra number 16. Sudha tattva sam danad va pasuskiti, which means, or from joining with the pure state, one obtains divine energy. The pure state is the state of consciousness. Once you remain aware, your thoughts diminish and ultimately stop completely. That is when you reach the highest state of awareness and obtain divine energy. The Vijnana Bharava Tantra explains in verse 62. When the mind has left a thought and is restrained from moving towards another thought, it comes to rest in the middle. Then, through that middle state of being, one's true nature blossoms brilliantly. It further goes on to state in verse 108, O dear-eyed one, by stopping all thoughts, the mind will be without support. Then the self will become the supreme self of God. Sutra number 17. Vitarka Atmaj Nanyam. Deliberation leads to knowledge of the self, which means the word vitarka means deliberation, reflection. That is, what does one deliberate or reflect on, and how does it lead to knowledge of the self? One deliberates on the self. One asks oneself the question, who am I? This is a method made famous by Ramana Maharshi in the first half of the 20th century. Although the Shiva Sutras were revealed in the 18th century, and Ramana Maharshi lived in the 20th century, there are many similarities in their teachings. Ramana Maharshi called this method a process of self-inquiry. Every time a thought arises, one should ask oneself the question, who am I? Whom do these thoughts belong to? The mind is nothing but our ego. It causes us to identify with the body. It is only a bundle of thoughts and has no permanent existence. The thoughts arise because there is a thinker. The thinker is the ego. When we seek its origin, it disappears by itself. And then all that is left is the self. Ramana Maharshi called this a direct method for self-realization. He compared the ego to an uninvited guest in a wedding party. When the uninvited guest is sought for, the guest sensing trouble quickly disappears. The mind or the ego is just like that. When we seek their source, they also disappear. Sutra 18. Loka Nanda Samadhi Sukham. The joy of liberation is bliss for the whole world. And what that means is all things are connected. We are all part of one whole. What happens in one part of the world affects people and influences events in another part of the world. A person who is liberated impacts the entire world in a positive way. Their joy is felt in the entire world. A liberated person's energy rises to a very high plane, to the level of bliss. This affects the energy of all other forms in the world. The energy of the great masters, such as Krishna, Buddha, and Christ, brings joy to millions of people, even centuries after they have passed away. So basically, the greatest thing we can do is elevate ourselves. A lot of the time, we try to help other people, we try to do, which is very beautiful, but we also got to fill our own cup. Because once we become liberated, once we become elevated, the whole world is a part of you. So everyone can feel the progress that we make. And the greatest person that we could really help is ourselves. So just keep practicing, keep meditating, keep loving on yourself, keep working without desire. And yeah, tap into the sutras, the scriptures, and whatever it might be. Sutra number 19. Sakti Sadhane Sariropta Pati. On uniting the energy, one gains the ability to leave the body. On uniting with energy, one gains the ability to leave the body. Explanation. The last few sutras of this chapter deal with the powers a person gains once they are liberated. Uniting the energy means that one has united with God. Our soul, one's soul or spirit, can then consciously leave the body, either for a short period or permanently. One gains the ability to do this at will. Sutra number 20. Bhuta Samdana. Bhuta Prata Tava Visa Samigata, which means one has the power to join elements, or to separate elements, or to join everything. One gains mastery of all the elements, which are the building blocks of matter. One is able to create new objects by joining elements. One is able to cure diseases by separating elements. One is also able to see the true reality of everything, joined together in one whole. We're all one. Suda, Sutra 21. Suda Vidyo Daya Akrisattva Siddhi. Through knowledge, through the appearance of pure knowledge, one attains mastery of the chakras. Pure knowledge appears when one has self-realized and reached one's highest state. At that time, one acquires mastery of the chakras, or energy centers in the body. When you acquire mastery of the chakras, your entire body gets revitalized. The body is nothing but an energy system, and the chakras are what control the energy within your body. Once you gain control of the chakras, you are effectively able to control the health of your body. And that's all of chapter 1. Oh, wait, I think. Oh, wait, the last page kind of sticky. Sutra number 22. Maha Radha Nusamada Hanan Matra Viri Anubhava, and that means from the union with the Great Lake, one gains the power of mantra. The Great Lake is a reference to Lord Shiva, the great pool of consciousness. When you unite with God, you gain the power of mantra. Mantras are sounds that generally raise one's level of consciousness. They all have a creative force in them and can bring about a specific result, such as improvement in health, intelligence, and so on. The important mantras contain the elements of creation and were responsible for the creation of the universe and all forms in it. This sutra is simply trying to state that on liberation, one becomes a creator and gains the creative power of mantra. And that's all of chapter 1, and that completes our reading for today. The next chapter is chapter 2, titled Detaching from the Body. So we're going to tap into that tomorrow. But I love y'all. Meditate in the nighttime, meditate in the morning time. Trust your intuition, love yourself. Love everybody because we all parts of one divine body. So, namaste. I love you.